fellow crocheters. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Jan with Jack and Jan, and today we're going to talk about our Billings collection. And what we're creating here is our Billings fingerless faux fur trimmed gloves. So let's get started. We've already followed our pattern and we've done the part that goes on our wrist. This is worked from the wrist up. So that's really awesome, and then it's also worked flat. It's not worked in the round. What we're going to do is we've already done, again, our wristband here, our ridged wristband, and we're going to go on to what we call the front loop and back loop faux knitting stitch. And we've already put our half double crochet on the top here of this ridged band according to the pattern. Now, and we've already chained 2. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do our regular half double crochet, but we're just going to go into some different loops. Instead of just going into the normal stitch that we would go into, we're going to go into the front and back loops to create a faux knit look. So the first stitch though is just a regular half double crochet. Alright, and now we're going to talk about the back loop faux knit stitch. Here we have the tops. See, this is the top of the half double crochet. Okay, so what we're looking to do is we're looking to create a faux knit stitch by pulling the top forward. And in order to do that and to make it all knit looking on one side, we have to do it one row front and one row back. So the back faux knit stitch, we look for this loop right here. See it? There's the top, there's the V, and there's the loop that's in back. So we're just going to do our regular half double, but we're just going into, excuse me, I split it. We're just going into that back loop. And again, this is called the back loop faux knit stitch, and it's really easy. Once you get the hang of it, you're gonna love it because you can actually create pieces that look like you knitted them, and it does give a nice ridge too. So if you want to just do like maybe one row of this and then one row of the half double, which we also do in this particular collection, you can get a nice ribbed look as well. It's just a little different. It's very rich looking. And I really love this. I love creating pieces with this stitch, and that's why I made this collection, because I just kind of wanted to feature this particular stitch. Oops, excuse me. I'm just going to keep going here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the back loop faux knit stitch too. So we're going to finish this row together, and then we're going to do the back knit faux loop stitch also together. And then I'm going to show you the technique for adding the ribbing into the middle of your fingerless gloves. Again, just look for that back loop, half double crochet, and per the pattern we always do a half double crochet, just a regular half double crochet to anchor it. We're doing that in the first and the last stitch. Okay, let me get some yarn here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do our chain 2 and we're going to turn. Now, as you can see, we've pulled that stitch forward. See, isn't that nice right there, how we pulled that forward? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to keep pulling it forward, but we're on a different row now, so in order for us to do that, we have to work a different loop. Okay, so the first stitch again is just a half double crochet, and that's according to the pattern, and you can find the pattern at jackandjan.com. Alright, and then here we're going to do our half double crochet, but we're going to go into really the same loop, but we're just working on a different row. So that means the loop, the same loop that was in behind, is now in front. So see it? There's the top of our stitch right there, and there's the loop that we're looking for to pull it forward. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep doing that, and eventually what happens is you can see this is the wrong side and this is the right side. But we're going to do a couple more together just so that we get it to the point of where it looks the way that it looks in the photo so that you can feel confident about what you're doing. And while I'm doing this, again, this is the front loop faux knit stitch. I want to talk about once you finish your piece, we really are so proud of you for finishing any piece that of our patterns that you purchased. And we want to offer you a free pattern. So if you've purchased a pattern and you finish the piece, just send 2 photos that we have your permission to use on our website, on our blogs, on our Etsy stores to info@jackandjan.com, and we will send you a free pattern for sending us those photos. Okay, we're just going to finish this row all here together. All right. And again, sometimes you have to just move it around a little bit to get it, but you'll get it. And like I said, once you do this for 2 or 3 rows, it's just so easy and it's fun. And I love, again, the texture that it creates. You can make some really nice pieces with this stitch. You can take it a step further and create your own stuff. You can go outside the pattern. We don't like to put anyone in a box here at Jack and Jan. Okay, we're almost to our last stitch. Here we go, front loop, half double crochet. All right, and we're going to just go right into that stitch and do a regular half double crochet. Now we're going to turn, and we've chained 2. Now see what you did? You made 2 rows that actually look like knitting. Isn't that wonderful? All right, while we're here, we're going to talk about how to create this from here. In other words, how do we create this ribbed stitch, which is a part of the pattern? And again, the pattern is on jackandjan.com. And this isn't exactly following the pattern, but I wanted to make a video that includes both while I'm doing this so that you can see how this works. Okay. So what you want to do in order to create this from here is we want to do this seamlessly. And I've really developed this technique that is pretty awesome to add this ridged look, which is often used as a band, either on your wrist or around the bottom, or of sweaters or necklines. And it just kind of pulls everything in and makes it look nice and neat. But this also helps like with the fit of these fingerless gloves. So to do that technique into this, we're going to follow the pattern. And again, this is just like, there's only 2 rows here. So in the pattern, there's obviously more rows, but I just want to show you this technique. So you chain as how many are on the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what you want to do is now what we're going to do is, instead of working this way, we're going to be working this way. So instead of working horizontally, we're going to be working vertically, but we're not going to be fastening off. We're not going to be creating this bulky seam. We're just going to make this seamless. So what you do is, after you've done your chain according to the pattern, then you start single crocheting, and you just single crochet right into the top loop. All the way down. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, all right. Since really on this point we've just added 1, we're going to add another row. So that means that we need to take 2 rows from here. So what you do is when you go into the base and you just slip stitch and slip stitch. Now once you start this technique, it's really super easy to work up a way to turn it and all that. You don't want to get all twisted in your yarn, and it doesn't need to be any more difficult than it does look initially. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the back loop. Okay, we're just single crocheting right into that back loop. Okay, we're going to do that all the way up to our last back loop stitch. Of course we have to turn, so we're going to chain 1, and this is how I turn when I do this. I just turn my hook and just go. Now we're going into the back loops again. See that? It's really easy. So we're just going to continue on with this. Oops, sorry. And make sure you count. You don't want to get a stitch. It's real easy to lose a stitch or to gain a stitch by doing this. So you just want to make sure that you're counting right here. Okay, now we're at the base. Now see, this is where you just have to kind of look. This is the stitch that you're already in, so you don't want to go back into that stitch. You want to slip stitch into the next stitch. Whoops, sorry, that was not correct. And this is just a normal slip stitch, and then another slip stitch. Now again, we don't chain or anything here, we just turn. We skip those 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're back into the ridged part 1, and then just back loop, single crochet, right back into it. And this is what you do all the way across per the pattern. That back loop, pull it forward, and just turn. Okay, here we go. Now make sure you, after you chain 1, you go right into that back loop. Okay, isn't this easy? It's really interesting how it creates that look, and this will kind of give you just a really nice fit. This pattern is, I gotta count my stitches because I was talking, so all right. And then again, I'm already in this stitch, so I don't want to go back into that stitch. I'm going to just slip and slip stitch, and then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to skip those 2 stitches, and I'm going to go right back into my back loop single crochet. And this is how you create the faux knit stitch, the back loop, front loop, faux knit stitch. Oops, sorry about that. The back loop, front loop, faux knit stitch, and how we also crochet this top part here, this rib stitch, how we're adding it into the Billings fingerless gloves so that it gives that nice ridged look and it gives you that beautiful texture. Thank you again so much for purchasing our pattern, and thank you for stopping by Jack and Jan to check out some of our techniques that we add to each pattern. If you have any questions, you can always contact us at info@jackandjan.com. Once again, thank you for stopping by, and happy crocheting.